Welcome to Creative Strategic Foresight Study Module, or CSF as we can say it shortly. This is a kick-off course of the study module and it aims up to open up your thinking towards three main themes of the study module. We all know that the most creative minds have always been a little bit more rebellious. Also the Albert Einstein who once said the following: the true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. And during the whole course and the whole CSF study module, keep this in mind because it's the core to go beyond the academics in your thinking. Not just being good boy or good girl, doing exactly like your professor says, but to think with your own brains, observe your own observations and all that. Because with that you can achieve so much more. In today's society, creativity has suffered inflection. It has become the it thing, the cool thing. It has been put everywhere. Surprisingly not on ice cream. It has become like a fancy wine for yuppies, or all those who want to be something more. But we don't know if they actually understand the essence of creativity or perform it, implement it in their own lives. Foresight, the other word for this is trends. We can find it on every fashion victim teenage blogger, fashion blogger they are. That sounds quite rough, but that's how it is. Trends all over our society. They also have suffered a little bit of inflection. But during the study module, you should learn to use the trends, spot them, to forecast trends. Just like strategy. It has forgotten its common sense roots. It has become a lot of charts, lots of people in grey suits, and lots of corners of the mouth pointing down. But is it really so? Is all that really so? This is what the kick-off course wants you to make to think. There is a so-called superficial seriousness, and that, trust me, gets you nowhere, or gets you droppy corners of the mouth. The superficial seriousness is all about serious faces, not playing with ideas, not generating ideas, being aggressive, being cocky with attitudes, so showing like, oh no, you're not good enough to my company, and oh no. Actually very inappropriate, sometimes even illegal behavior. And trust me, all that is something that kills creativity. You can imagine that you're in a perfect flow state of performing something, doing something, generating ideas, or really implementing, putting them into practice. And someone comes grumpy and all that. Boom, that's it. That's about that. Your perfect creative state and flow state totally destroyed. Because superficial seriousness does not follow the heart-brain connection that is needed for creativity. It doesn't necessarily always follow even the brain connection. It follows the ego connection. Ego-brain connection, maybe. And it might point out the wrong kind of efficiency, which, trust me, bounces back to you. Because sometimes you might want to waste or spend, that's the correct term, a little bit more time checking out things, reading it all over again, and that might save you 5 days of work because you do not have to go back to what you were doing. Superficial seriousness, thus, it doesn't mean that you are doing something. Yes, you are doing things, but it doesn't mean that you are doing things correctly, efficiently, and that you are actually committed. It doesn't say that. It just says that it's superficial expression of something, and that's in some case you might be afraid of things, and that's another thing that's not linked to creativity. Creativity is more about tolerance, heart-brain connection, not that much about fears. It is about putting yourself into play and doing what you have promised to do. We will see about that a little bit later on here. Well, so-called pixie attitude and joker effect are both related to creativity. Very often, the silly things and the stupid sounding things, although you might be laughed at in the meetings if you're a little bit more light-spirited, and people judge you, the superficial seriousness people judge you, very often they are the most profitable things they are. Being a little bit punk, a little bit liberal, a little bit silly are important parts of creativity. And here are some examples about that. Richard Branson, that he is a full incarnation of this. Performing, doing things, but not being that good boy doing exactly this and this and that. Not have a grumpy attitude all the time, but processing, doing things, and being extremely creative, strategic, forcing things. Understanding human dimension. The modern art has started to break from that old, traditional, dusty, conservative art. The artists were laughed at. They were spit on. Their works of art were thought to be absolutely ugly. How they broke the rules, they broke the society, they created something completely new. Yes, there was a lot of informal action between them. They were sitting in all those cafes, meeting each other, having chat and talk, and having a couple of glasses or bottles of absinthe. And they changed the society forever, the world of arts forever. All the next examples here, absolutely fabulous and the young ones. Two icons of British and European comedy, both full of cues, criticism towards society. If you really want to look at something that's full of signs of society and trends of society linked to the forecast theme, watch Absolutely Fabulous. And then the young ones is another fruit of completely silly pixie epic conversations in a pub. Now let's go to the geeky stuff. Science fiction. There are plenty of things around us which go back to science fiction, the geeky things. For example, teleportation. Yes, it's present there, but that idea has been taken into society. For example, teleporting medicine, 3D prints for medicine. That's a smart idea. You don't have to go to the pharmacy. Just print it out. The doctor can send it to you. So just print it out, have your medicine there. Very, very practical, isn't it? Or another thing, the new age, all those things dealing with spirituality, telepathy. Again, very stupid, lots of the serious, superficial, serious people laugh at you. Oh no, that's geeky thing. Oh no, that's stupid thing. You are stupid when you say that. How come? Have they actually developed these fantastic means of communication for those who are badly injured and are not able to communicate? They took the inspiration from that silly thing and put it into practice, and now are helping so many people out there. I will be helping even more when they develop this whole concept further. So yet we talk about those high school dropouts or university dropouts who were so passionate about their things that they continued and created some unmentionable here. Big companies. The key word is the passion. Another key word, intuition. Well, of course, the third term, not such a key word, but the term heart-brain connection. Woodstock is a good example of this. They wanted to do it. They followed their intuition. They didn't do everything right. But lots of people got, hey, we want to go to that rock festival. So it became quite a big thing, and weren't they criticized and a lot. But the whole thing, at the end, became one of the biggest things and icons in the youth culture, Woodstock Rock Festival. Yes, we have some stuff going on in today's society, but nothing is like that. That is Woodstock. the mother of all the rock festivals, which young people, year after year, they want to achieve the same thought and movement. But that's the ultimate rock festival. And yet there are a lot of things you can play. You can play with the words and create new ideas from them. Be silly, play with them. They can even be used for product development, for generating ideas for product level development, like here. Filling the hole with something gummy, put the chewing gum there. Hey, that's like rubber material. Let's do that. Just use it for filling the hole there. So you can observe the playfulness and the pixie attitude behind all these ideas, and that they contradict a lot the superficial seriousness. Yet there is another aspect, the high societal value of these examples. Now it is your turn. Generate your ideas, discuss about them in a class, share ideas in the social media, whatever you use in your course. Here we move on, and you will move on after this task as well. We go to our first theme, creativity, how others see it. Well, first of all, there are lots of presumption on it. Yes, it's the it word of the moment, but there are also lots and lots and lots of presumption on it. Creative people are labeled irresponsible people who are probably drunk and high on drugs all the time. Oh goodness of them. They are not responsible, they are not precise, they just leave everything here and there, and they are messy, no paying attention on detail, they don't have business sense, no sketches, everything, let alone this only for the artistic sector. Or if you do something that you're not taking care of your responsibilities, oh no, I'm so creative. Or another thing, that creativity is only waste of time. Well, we'll see how the European economics think about that. The whole Europe brand thinks about that. And another very, very bad thing is that's going on in today's society. I told you about the creativity as the eat thing of the moment, that you can learn creativity from books. Okay, so you can also learn ballet from books, sing opera from books. You can also learn to become heart surgeon and neurosurgeon from books. No, we need practice. And when we talk about creativity, is that yes, some people are just natural born creatives, but everybody can learn it. We just have to go to a certain state of mind. And that's something you will learn also during the CSF study module. And that state of mind is not something you can achieve by using drugs or something. It is something that you turn on your brain, your mentality. You have to become open-minded, perceptive, and tolerant towards different things. And not too judgmental. Well, if creative sectors and creative people were so fully irresponsible, how's this kind of work, fantastic statue, how's that possible? It would have never been realized. Because something that is very, very common to creative people is that they have passion. They want to do. They might be floating there when they are searching for the idea and searching the whole thing, how to do it, but once they get it, they are sold. They start sketching ideas, they might be a little bit obsessive actually when they start to be a little bit, find the perfect solution for whatever they are doing and working on. And they use hours and hours for becoming more perfect, for making it more perfect. Like in this statue case, I can imagine. The Canova, after the first idea, he made the idea more and more perfect, crystallized it, used hundreds of sketches to find the right angle, used lots of time to to find the right kind of marble with the right kind of color and sensibility of the material for it. And then the work, the implementation part of creativity, that is very, very often forgotten. You have no idea how many hours it might take to come up to this solution. The delicacy of every detail. The patience, not just to hit the stone and that's it, but really to be there and hit it little by little by little. And that's something that happens in the creative sector. And next we see something, what else happens there. These are all quotations of one of the biggest ladies in the fashion PR, Kelly Coutron. You can see it's not sitting around, it's not just being funny and making jokes. Yes, that's part of creativity. That is part of creativity, but there's so much more to it. Creative sector is extremely demanding, and so is creative work. You saw in the last slide what kind of work and passion and commitment is needed for it. But also here you have to understand hardcore business. It's millions of dollars of people's money, or in our case, euros of people's money. And if something happens, that is there for a reason. It's not something, okay, I just, I like to spend my time on this and waste some of your time on that as well. There is that because it needs to be there. There's a reason for it. So creativity is serious. It's serious, very serious business. It's not superficial. It might seem silly. It's superficially silly, but it's really, really serious stuff that's going on. There is high competition, and only a few can be on the top. Of course, others can do things as well. The requirements are high, the responsibilities are high, and the pace of the work is high. The results must be delivered as agreed, because if not, you might go out of business. At least you stop working with that one. Deadlines and schedules are highly important. And to be honest, the whole European economy, many parts of it, are actually based on creative sector. Let's say the fashion business and design, they are something like core essence of the European culture. They crystallize it, and the arts. And because of all this, there are plenty of other businesses that go around them. Textile industry, like producing the textile, the material. Tourism, restoration that comes after that. So all these things we have had in our history, in our society for hundreds of years. And they are giving bread to so many tables. So there's absolutely nothing superficial about them. Absolutely nothing. Yet, the creative sector, it requires fast adaptation, fast thinking, and constant problem solving. And two forms of thinking have to coexist at the same time. Attention to detail and the big picture, understanding them, keeping many balls at the air at the same time. But we have to understand that creativity is not present on the so-called traditional creative sector only, like arts and design sector. But it should be present everywhere. In each and every sector. We did have a couple of examples of those in the pixie attitude. So, creative should be present in each and every sector and does bring added value everywhere. It's an attitude, it's an essence, it's something we all should have internalized, and we should have courage to express. So here's an exercise, an activity. Here you should think about how creativity expresses itself and comes through in other than non-traditional creative sectors. Brainstorm the solutions, and if you talk about companies and brainstorm solutions for companies, please concentrate on SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, because they are something that create most jobs and very often are highly creative. Our second topic is strategy. Yes, the tongue twisting starts again. The everyday translation about that could be using your common sense when you do things and plan your activities. Like if you go to a jungle, you might ask for a guide, you might ask the locals what you need, what kind of vaccinations do you need, how you need to dress up, what kind of food do you need to take with you, are there any venomous or poisonous things there, and all that kind of stuff. That's like tactic and strategic actions and activities. Yes, it comes from military-based things. It's planning your actions. It's using common sense how to get from A to B. So don't be afraid if you see all those grey suits and charts and everything. It's something that you use in your everyday life. And even Animal Kingdom uses it. Cats hunting, bird migration, even the formation, how they fly, all that has a certain strategy in it. And even dogs stealing a sandwich. My dog was very good at stealing food. She had a perfect strategy for that. So think about them. You can think about them in the strategy exercises here. You have 5 topics. Of course, you can find out more of them, and you can discuss about them in the classroom, virtually, or the chat forum, whichever form you may want to use. And trust me, you will have lots of fun finding out strategies. So do not forget the sense of humor when you work on this one. And here are some issues you can think about for this exercise. Read them through, think what you need in your case and what might be beneficial to you overall. And the third topic of the study module, the foresight. It's going to be. Because everything what is today is a result of the past and has been maybe forecasted in the past. And what's going to be in the future, one day is the present and one day will be the past. So you have to understand the past to understand the present day and predict the future. There are the weather forecast things. Sometimes it rains, sometimes there's sunshine, and sometimes they go fantastically wrong, sometimes they're correct. And that's the nature of the foresight. It's not 100% accurate science. There are mistakes, you never know what happens next. Also because the nature plays role, things in general play roles, and also because there's a very strong human dimension. In fact, it is said that the economic forecast goes wrong because it forgets the human dimension. But oh boy, it plays such a big role there. Our behavior, the culture, the different subcultures, our aspirations, our fears, habits, examples we follow and people we follow, all those, they created this very, very complicated and yet very simple place to forecast the future. Thorsten Veblen created this theory about consumption more than 100 years ago. It's something that's very, very much used in fashion. And it also creates a movement of trends, especially when having the human dimension. It is based that the upper class, we think about, time more than 100 years ago, has habits, items, artifacts, things, everything that seem very, very fascinating to the middle class. So the middle class wants to be a little bit like the upper class because that's fancy, and they start to imitate them. Their choice of words, the way they dress up, where they go on holiday, and all that. And the upper class is, oh, hey, we are not unique anymore. We want to get something, we want to maintain our status. So they create something new. They use something more exotic, something new. They constant discovery of new things. And the middle class comes and follows. This creates movement, a constant chase between them. In today's society, we do not have such an obvious upper class that there was 100 years ago. But today, we follow the trendsetters, who might sometimes be upper class, sometimes middle class, sometimes lower class, whatever class they are, represent another culture. But there is still this movement. Let's follow the ones who are the trendsetters. And that's one thing we need to understand in foresight. And two other things. Actually, this next thing, is part of the previous thing. We have to have the curiosity towards novelties. New things. Do not exclude them just because they're not part of your vehicle, your car, your culture, your personal aspirations. Do not exclude anything. Do not exclude that funny new age thing, spiritual thing about telepathy. Because using that you might understand so much more. And that can create you new solutions. Do not exclude something because talking about that, thinking about that makes you silly. And actually, some of the best places to spot trends and how people think, what's going on in the society, are gossip magazines, commentary on online newspapers, what's on the celebrity columns on the newspapers, all that stuff. There's so much you can spot from there. And some other things which are very, very good in spotting trends are music, fashion, and the most quickest moving design things like in graphic design, for example. And they also said that in Sex and the City, if the young girls and the gay guys are after that, that might be the next big thing. And trust me, it is so. Here's an exercise in two parts for you to think, where you can think how the past one day was the present, and how today one day was the future of the past. The culture does not only change country by country or subculture by subculture, but it also has a viscosity in the history. We have to understand that in order to be able to forecast the future. And not only as a phenomenon, but also how all that is linked to the society. I like to use the example of going to the dentist. Imagine, you have to have your wisdom tooth pulled off. Not nice at all. You talk, oh my God, I have to go there. But today going there is not that bad. Think about how it was 20 years ago, how it was 50 years ago, how it was 100 years ago, 500 years ago. Was there anesthesia? How do you have to get prepared? How was booking the time there? Did you have to take a full day off? Or did you just go there on your lunch break? Was it possible to you to reorganize your work? Take a couple of hours off? Do you have a flexible work time? Was it possible? And imagine how it was 1,000 years ago. They didn't have anesthesia. So it was pure pain. Sometimes alcohol was used to numb you. Opium was used, but you were still feeling the pain. You needed so much more of courage to do that. Think about traveling, for example. Today you just book something online, you go there, you travel, you're on the other side of Europe in a few hours, unless planes are delayed again. Yes, that happens to me very often. But time ago, it took you days and weeks to go to another country. Sometimes you could not travel, except summer and winter time. Not in spring, not in autumn. Or you had to wait weeks and weeks until the perfect weather for traveling because it was too dangerous. But not today. Just think about how much more courage that needed, what kind of people they were, in what kind of society they were thinking. And that's the core essence of this task. Just think about it. You might discover so much more about the society back then, and even about your grandparents. So we have passed the creativity, strategy, and foresight, some new aspects about them, which might be actually out there, but which you might not be thinking every day. And then we go to walk the walk and talk the talk. Do as you say. Keep your promises. And this is very often a weak point in project work because it's always so nice to plan things. But are they feasible? Can you put them into practice? Do you have time? Do you have resources? Do you have the patience to readjust the things? To be able to communicate correctly with your peers? Find solutions? Do you panic? Or do you not panic at all? The implementation and production process are two huge things in any kind of work that you do. They are not nice necessarily. No, it's not just sitting over a coffee cup. It's hard work, and sometimes actually, not only sometimes, but very often they might not be the nicest things to do. But trust me, once you have done it, the satisfaction of the work is great. Let's think about cleaning the house. Oh, the idea of having a clean house, great, fantastic. But to start it, to do that, not many people like it. But once the house is clean, oh goodness, it's so nice. There are many ways to do it. You can complain about it. You can have grumpy attitude about it, or you can say that, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put very nice music on the background. It might be the nice rock and roll from the 60s, 70s, or it might be classical music. There might be no music at all. It just might be a certain time of the day to do it. Or we can do it with our children all together as a family thing. Sing songs whatsoever. Oh, please don't think that's something bad. I remember how I was doing it. At some point, I really did put on I was living in Naples, US military station radio. The sun was shining, and I just started cleaning the house. It was done before I noticed. It was fun. I don't like cleaning, but that way it was fun. And the same kind of things you have to think when you process a project. Implementation, how you do it, what kind of attitude you have towards it, what's feasible to do. And look calmly at the situation, think over and then act. Make it nice to you. All the grumpy attitudes, being too impatient, it doesn't pay off really. It really doesn't. And assume your responsibility for it. Just like there are no tooth fairies, unfortunately, there are no project fairies at all. The tooth fairies are your parents. And project fairies, you cannot put your project plan under the pillow and all of a sudden, poof, it's done. It's actually you who has to do the work. You have to think about the person right next to you to do the work. So this time your activity is a project implementation game. It sounds bad, but it's something you learn to do. You can even think about this cleaning example from Naples and have fun. Most important, have fun, keep calm and have fun. And keep calm and also have fun when you do the CSF tryout. Yes, it's your time to try how to combine creativity, strategy and foresight in generating some ideas. The object or a thing, note it can be also a material thing, should have business potential, because that is also something that is taken into account during the whole CSF study module. Oh goodness, all the tongue twisting here again. you're supposed to create 3 alternative future scenarios. And this work might first not feel very good because of the mental barriers we have. We feel uncomfortable with it. But there's no judgment. Do not have any judgment. And actually, if you feel uncomfortable, that is completely normal, because that's the part that you start to feel like, ugh, where to go. But boom, all of a sudden you start to have the ideas. Do not judge the other's ideas. It might be a little bit difficult the first round, the second round, in the third round. Maybe the second round is fun already. Maybe the first round. There have been lots of students, each student, almost each, but each time the students, majority of the students who have done this kind of work and projects, they have said that they were the most difficult ones because they were challenged. But at the end of it all, they learned the most and they were the most rewarding. So if you have any difficulty, think that you learn, and you learn a lot, and they are the most rewarding things you can do. And do not stress about the thing that you have not yet completed all the courses of the CSF study module, because that is actually the aim of it. Because at the end of the whole study module, you can then look back and think about the solutions you created here. Maybe they are similar. Think about what you have learned. Or maybe you have learned too much so that your ideas are not that fresh. But also that one is a learning lesson for all of this. And to open up your minds towards all these thinking solutions, there are 3 books. You can also find out other ones. The 3 books that open up your thinking, keep your mind fresh. You have them listed here. The Evolution Man and the Kelly Cutrons, the Fashion PR book. Her book about, well, here you can see very much of the creative mind functions. And then also we have the Massive Change, where we look at the gaps between things, which sometimes may not seem the superficial serious ones, but at the end of the day, they are the ones that create new things. So think about them, discuss about them, and generate new ideas. And again, have fun. Open your minds and have fun. Thank you.